2302, DPU 2345. So, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to this hybrid public comment hearing conducted by the Energy Facilities Siting Board in docket EFSB 2302, DPU 2345, known as the A1B2 refurbishment Warwick to Sterling Transmission Replacement Project, which I will refer to as the A1B2 project or the project. Before we start, I do want to explain how to use Zoom tonight to ensure that everyone can fully participate in this hybrid public comment hearing from the start. We have interpreters who will be translating from English to Spanish and back. To select your desired language, click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen and select English or Spanish so that you can hear everything said today with interpretation as needed. I will give you a moment so that you can do that. For audio-only participation attendees, you can dial in at 646-558-8656, not a toll-free number, and then enter the webinar ID 875-0178-0143. Now I'm going to ask our Spanish interpreters to interpret the instructions I've just read so that those participants can join.
So sorry, Andres, can you unmute?
Thank you. Buenas tardes, me gustaría darles la bienvenida a todos a esta audiencia híbrida de comentario público, realizada por la Junta de Emplazamiento de Instalaciones Energéticas de Massachusetts en el expediente EFSB 23-02, diagonal DPU 23-45, conocida como Renovación A1B2, proyecto de reemplazo de transmisión de Warwick a Sterling, o sea, el proyecto 1A, B2 o proyecto. Antes de comenzar, quiero explicar cómo usar Zoom esta tarde para garantizar que todos puedan participar plenamente de esta audiencia híbrida desde el principio. Contamos con intérpretes que interpretarán del inglés al español y viceversa. Para seleccionar el idioma que desee, haga clic en el icono de globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla y seleccione inglés o español para que pueda escuchar todo lo que se dice hoy con interpretación. Una vez que se abran los canales de interpretación, podrá seleccionar el idioma para participar solo en audio. Los asistentes pueden marcar al 646-558-8656 y luego ingresar el ID del seminario 875-0178-0143.
And one additional instruction, there are captions available for those of you participating via Zoom. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a CC and a sort of TV screen icon. Click that, and if you click the up arrow, you can select whatever language you would like the comments tonight to be translated into for your captions. There's a drop-down menu, and select the appropriate language under My Caption Language.
Una instrucción adicional, hay subtítulos para quien desee utilizarlos. Usted puede ir a la parte de abajo, hay un icono que dice CCTV. Ahí hay una flecha hacia abajo que puede utilizar para seleccionar el idioma en el que quisiera ver los subtítulos dentro de las opciones que están en el menú.
All right, we'll start the interpretation now.
All right. Please do not check the box that says mute original audio. We recommend this so that you can hear the voice of the actual speaker faintly in the background, but mostly you will hear the voice of the interpreter. Dial-in participants will hear the speaker's voice without interpretation as Zoom does not offer interpretation for dial-in participants. However, all comments made by dial-in participants on this number will be interpreted into Spanish or English. My name is Connor Tarr. I am the presiding officer in this proceeding and am conducting the public comment hearing tonight. With me from the Energy Facilities Siting Board are others who will be involved in the review of this project, including Andrew Green, Director of the Siting Division, Wayne Wang, Assistant Director of the Siting Division, who was on the way in, Tim Riley, Siting Specialist with the Siting Division, and Brian Wilmer and Nathaniel Strasberg, Siting Analysts with the Siting Division. Please let us know if you're having any technical difficulties with Zoom. Call or text 857-200-0065 for assistance. All right, now we'll proceed forward with a description of the project. We are here tonight because National Grid seeks approval from the Energy Facilities Siting Board to replace an existing transmission line, tap lines, and double circuit structures with a new overhead transmission line, tap lines, and double circuit structures in an existing transmission corridor in Warwick, Royalston, Athol, Winchendon, Gardner, Westminster, Fitchburg, Leominster, and Sterling, Massachusetts. The A1B2 project seeks replacement of a transmission line between Warwick and Sterling, which operates at a 69 kilovolts with a capability of operation at 115 kilovolts. The complete project is 61 miles long and includes a 6-mile section in the Vermont/New Hampshire. For the Massachusetts portion of the project, which is approximately 47 miles long, National Grid proposes to replace the lines and transmission structures that are holding up the lines, termed replacement transmission line, within the existing right-of-way. The company also proposes to replace 2 smaller transmission lines and associated structures that feed into the corridor. One, a line beginning in Athol and connects to the corridor in neighboring Royalston, and 2, a line beginning and connecting in Gardner, referred to as collectively the replacement taps. Once the replacement transmission line, replacement taps, and structures are constructed, collectively termed the replacement line, National Grid would remove the old lines and structures. National Grid will make a presentation tonight regarding its proposed A1B2 project and respond to questions related to its proposal. We have copies of the public notice in English and Spanish on the table in the lobby on the way in that the Siting Board directed the company to provide to the residents and owners of property near the proposed project. These notices include maps of the proposed project. In addition, the notice provides a link to a map on the company website, which allows anyone to put in an address and see the location of that address relative to the location of the proposed project. Finally, information on the project is posted to the Siting Board website, and you can find that link on the notice as well. If you are participating remotely using Zoom, you will still have a full opportunity to see and hear everything said during this hearing and to offer comment and ask questions. For those of you accessing the meeting by phone dial-in, you too can hear everything and have an opportunity to comment or ask questions. The instructions on how to participate were provided in the public comment hearing notice published in newspapers, in the notices sent to residents, and posted on the company and Siting Board websites, as well as posted at the city clerk's offices and libraries for the towns of Warwick, Royalston, Athol, Winchendon, Gardner, Westminster, Fitchburg, Leominster, and Sterling. Now we'll proceed forward with some more technical info for tonight's presentation. Since this is one of the Siting Board's first hybrid public comment hearings, we could experience some technical difficulties, such as sound from speakers, including potential background noise, video and audio issues, and potential delays. For those participating in person and those participating on Zoom or by phone, it is imperative for you to speak slowly and clearly, and to allow a speaker to finish speaking before you begin speaking, and to pay attention to the video of the person speaking. I will raise my hand as a signal if I need to interrupt the person currently speaking and to ask them to stop. I'll briefly reiterate this guideline when we open the floor to public comment. We will be video recording this public comment hearing and that recording will be posted to the Siting Board's YouTube channel. All comments offered at this hearing will be recorded both in the official written transcript and on the YouTube video of this hearing. Note that if you would like to see closed captions on Zoom, press the button at the bottom of the screen that says Show Captions, as indicated previously by Director Green. Next, we'll proceed forward with some deadlines related to the public comment hearing. There are different ways in which you can participate in this proceeding, either as a full intervener with rights to ask discovery questions of the company, present witnesses, ask questions of witnesses testifying at the hearings, file briefs and motions, and appeal the decision of the Siting Board, or as an interested person who can receive filings made in this proceeding and file briefs to the Siting Board. In the notice of this public comment hearing, you should be aware that there is a deadline to file any requests for participation as an intervener or as an interested person. That deadline is Friday, April 26th, 2024. That is also the deadline to provide written comments to the Siting Board as outlined in the notice of the public comment hearing. We would encourage anyone who does seek to participate to review the material that we provided in the Siting Board handbook. Copies of that information are available as you walked in here in the lobby, as well as available on the Siting Board website. The link to the Siting Board website and the Siting Board webpage for this proposed project is provided in the written notice. If you have any questions related to these materials, please send your contact information to my email at Connor, CONNOR, C, TAR, TARR, @mass.gov. This public comment hearing will begin with a presentation by National Grid. National Grid has council and company representatives who are participating in this public comment hearing. May I have appearances of council, please?
Also appearing on behalf of National Grid are Cheryl Blaine, also from Keegan Roman, and David Waterfall, in-house counsel for National.
Excuse me, can I
I'll-
just
yeah.
remind the company to share the handheld microphone so that we can make sure everything is heard remotely as well as here?
I'm just gonna ask you to repeat it because the interpreter wasn't able to do so. But can you just do the presentation of your representation?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Catherine Cuthan. I'm from the law firm of Keegan Worland in Boston, Massachusetts, appearing on behalf of National Grid in this proceeding. Also appearing are Cheryl Blaine, also from the same law firm, who is not here this evening, as well as David Waterfall, in-house counsel for National Grid, who is also not present, but appearing.
Thank you. I would note that the company has provided a certification that the notice for this public comment hearing has been provided consistent with the terms required by the Siting Board. Now we're going to proceed forward with the company presentation. Would the company like to begin with its presentation regarding the proposed A1B2 project? And after the presentation, we will open the floor for comments and questions from the public.
Yes, please. I'm heading up. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy Sherman. I'm a project manager from National Grid. Thank you for all attending tonight. We're going to go through a brief presentation and then we'll open it up for conversation. Thank you. As stated, this is the Warwick Sterling project, which is part of the A1B2. The A1B2 is the transmission line we are working on. And this is the Energy Facility Siting Board. Next, please. This right here is a map, an overall map. You can see that this line, the Warwick Sterling project, is the A1B2 line, and it goes through 3 states: New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. This portion we're talking today is the Massachusetts portion, and it goes from Warwick, Massachusetts, which is on the Mass-New Hampshire border, to the Pratt's Junction substation. This also includes 2 tap lines. This right here is the schedule.
Sorry, I
Yep.
think I advanced
No problem. If you want
by
to,
mistake.
yep.
Did you want to?
Yep, I'll just sum that up one more time. This right here encompasses the complete rebuild of the main portion of National Grid's A1, B2 69 kV transmission lines in Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire, and the 2 tap lines. Thank you. Here are some of the dates. Stakeholder outreach has started. That was fall 2020, is ongoing. We've mailed notifications. We have a website up. There are local meetings and more. Field assessments, these are also started and ongoing. Construction reviews, environmental field work, land surveying, access reviews, cultural resource testing, and soil borings. Vegetation management for the soil borings has been completed. That was 2021 and 2022. Prior to construction, we'll start vegetation management in the fall 2025. Permitting has started, and that's 2022 to 2025, which includes federal, state, and local reviews. Construction restoration, 2025 and restoration, 2025 to 2030. And we'll be communicating the locations as we progress with the job and prior to commencement. Thank you. This right here is an overview of some of the permits. I won't go through all of them. I'll give you a moment to look at them. You'll have an opportunity to discuss them with the team. You can see that we are right here today at the Energy Facility Siting Board, the EFSB. That was filed in May 1st, 2023. Environmental permitting, you can see there is a fair amount of those, everything from Army Corps to MEPA to wetland protection. We also have other state and local permits, Department of Conservation and Recreation, Mass Department of Transportation, and more local municipal permitting as required. And we'll jump to the video as well. We do have a quick video that'll give you more details. That'll show you some of the towers that are being built. Just 1 second, please.
National Grid Operating Company, known as New England Power Company, is planning the New England A1-B2 transmission line asset condition refurbishment project, which is located within the existing transmission right-of-way in the municipalities of Vernon, Vermont, Hinsdale and Winchester, New Hampshire, and Warwick, Royalston, Winchendon, Gardner, Westminster, Fitchburg, Leominster, and Sterling, Massachusetts. This project also includes the Athol Tap from Royalston Substation to Chestnut Hill Avenue Substation in Athol, Massachusetts, and the Crystal Lake Taps from Gardner Switching Station to Crystal Lake Substation in Gardner, Massachusetts. The project covers approximately 61 miles. Constructed in 1909 using horse and carriages, the A1-B2 line is National Grid's oldest transmission line. The project scope includes replacing the existing structures, installation of new structure foundations, new conductor and shield wire, and right-of-way access improvements where necessary. The deteriorating 69 kilovolt line will be rebuilt to 115 kilovolt design standards to accommodate future capacity requirements, but will continue to operate at 69 kilovolts for the foreseeable future. The proposed new structures will be taller than the existing structures, which will allow for a reduction in structures in some areas along the right-of-way. Structure placement will vary at different locations along the project right-of-way. To account for specific needs, the mainline structures and the tap structures will have different designs. Existing mainline steel lattice structures are proposed to be replaced with double circuit structures. Existing Crystal Lake Tap single-circuit wood structures are proposed to be replaced by steel single-circuit davit arm structures. The existing Athol Tap wood H-frame single-circuit structures are proposed to be replaced by steel single-circuit davit arm structures. New structures will be built along the same center line as existing structures. Existing structures will be removed after the new lines are placed in service. There are no planned customer outages during the construction of the project. When preparing for construction, crew members conduct field activities including, but not limited to, wetland delineations, land survey staking, and soil borings. Next, vegetation management is conducted to clear the right-of-way and access roads. Then, access roads are established and/or improved. Matting is then placed in select locations to assist equipment when traveling, as well as providing protection to the ground below. There will be two types of structure installations: direct embed and self-supporting. To install the direct embed structures on the main line, crews will excavate a hole where a steel culvert will be placed. Following this, a steel pole will be placed in the culvert and backfilled with stone. The new poles will be constructed on site and built vertically. Self-supporting structures will be installed by drilling a large subsurface temporary casing shaft. The permanent casing will then be installed within the temporary casing. This is followed by the installation of tied rebar and anchor bolt clusters. Once these are completed, concrete is poured into the permanent casing, and backfill is placed to fill the space left behind with the removal of the temporary casing. The new structure is then bolted to the foundation, and grading is done around the structure base. Once the new structures are in place, new conductor is installed, and shield wire is replaced. Following this, the existing and temporary structures are removed. Once construction is complete, the right-of-way is restored. Construction is anticipated to take place from 2024 to 2028, subject to change. Crews will not be working on the entire line at the same time. They will work their way along the line so landowners may see crews come and go. Our stakeholder management team is committed to keeping you up to date and informed on the A1B2 ACR project. We are continuing to coordinate meetings with towns' boards of selectmen and hosting public open houses for residents to learn more and provide feedback. Please reach out to us with any questions or concerns by calling our project phone number at 1-844-500-3536 or emailing us at info@newengland.a1b2.com. Visit our website for more information and project updates at newengland.a1b2.com.
Thank you so much. The last slide, and I don't know if you can pull it up right quick, does have other ways to contact us. We do have a website, we do emails, and as you saw, the phone number as well. It's not a big deal if you can't grab it. One thing you will note that there were two different dates on that as far as the construction duration. It is 2025 to 2030. So that's the presentation. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and engaging in conversation with you on this today. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next, we will proceed with public comments regarding the project. We begin with federal, state, and local officials appointed, as well as elected officials who wish to be heard. Then we will proceed with members of the public who have signed up to speak in the order in which they have signed up. Finally, we will allow anyone who wishes to speak but who did not have a chance to speak at the end and wasn't able to let us know in advance that they had wanted to. When called to speak, if you are participating remotely, we will move you into the Zoom panel so that you can be seen and heard by the Zoom audience, as well as those here in the room. Please give your name, address, and spell your name, and remember to speak slowly and clearly. Again, please stop speaking if you see my hand is raised. If a company response to your comment or question asked is appropriate, I will ask the company to respond. Okay, we are now ready to hear public comments. First, please identify yourself, give your name, and the office that you're holding. Do we have any federal officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? Seeing and hearing no response. Are there any state officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? And lastly, are there any local officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? Seeing and hearing no response, we'll proceed forward to the general public. Next, we will take comments from members of the general public, beginning with those who have pre-registered with the siting board. When called, again, please give your name, spell your last name, and then give your address. We have two individuals who had signed up. So we are And then, okay. We have two individuals that have signed up. First up is going to be Deborah Nutting. Deborah, come on down.
Thank you. I'm a resident on Mount Ellen Road.
I didn't hear your last name. Please state your name.
Nutting. You go out to the woods and you gather your nuts with nutting. We have to have humor tonight. There's no officials here. Ready? Okay. I'm a resident on 1077 Mount Elam Road. It's Leominster property. It is No Town Reservoir, the main watershed source to Leominster.
I just asked, because it's being interpreted, just make sure you hold the microphone up.
I'm a resident in Leominster. I'm near No Town Reservoir. And it is one of the main watershed sources to Leominster. And I'm in a butter to the power line. I actually have a certified wildlife habitat of my last 3 acres. We sold the rest of the property to the city to protect it. Now, I discovered last year a nesting pair of eagles at the backside of nesting pair of eagles at the backside of No Town. And they've been there for a year, and I'm quite concerned about their sanctuary. I contacted Mass Fish and Wildlife to confirm it so that they will. And I also have in my certified wildlife habitat that abuts the power line, a wetland with 2 endangered species. One of them is what we would call wood turtles, and the other one is a woodcock. And it's a bird, but either way, how is this going to impact their environment? And what type of vegetation removal are you going to use to take out the vegetation without polluting the reservoir or the wildlife area?
I believe there is someone from the company that can address that.
Yes, thank you so much. Mike, Teresa.
Sure, Teresa Portante with BSC Group.
Name again, Teresa.
Teresa Portante, Portante. So in regards to rare species, we are currently undergoing MISA review with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program to evaluate the measures that we're going to be implementing to minimize impacts. Thank you for the comment on the nesting pair. I would definitely like to get information on where the observation has been so that we can evaluate. Yeah, that would be lovely. So that we can evaluate, proximity to where the line is. But, and Jason, jump in on the veg activities, but some of the measures that are taken to protect turtles and is to, during certain activities such as mowing, depending upon the time of year that it's done, the blade may need to be raised up higher. Other measures that are implemented is doing sweeps for turtles. Enclosures are a possible BMP measure that may be implemented as we work through with Natural Heritage on what measures we'll be implementing.
I have a couple more questions.
If you would just keep the microphone close.
I
to
have
the-
a couple of more questions I brought up. Being a bridge on our road that accesses off of Route 2 highway heading eastbound, it is in the middle of transition of collapse. And we have been working on trying to come up with a design to restructure. I believe it was 4 years ago that power companies came up and did some work on the towers on the dead end of our street. And on many occasions that I happened to be home, there was at least 30 trucks that came up in a week with beams on them, square beams that look almost like a skidder truck carrying these. And that load alone coming over our bridge and our road within the period of time that they still are not rebuilding could really cause a problem for the 9 residents to access up and down the road. If it collapses, 40 years ago, we were residents using the other side of the highway, which was with no Jersey barriers, to park our vehicles, come across with a boat and take a car up and down. But there's a lot of change in traffic. Jersey barriers are there now. We've got senior citizens and 2 families with cancer. So we really are concerned as to
what kind of damage the equipment, if it comes up over our road to get to the dead end, because they obviously had to before when they had to put the beams down in the marsh. So that is a big consideration that I talked to DOT about today. They call me the mayor of my road, and I said, please don't give me titles. I said, but I am very aware of what goes on. I'm 71 and I've been there all my life. So the concern of the bridge, they are talking about potentially next year, maybe building buttresses, drilling in core drills this fall, and then doing buttresses to reinforce what is currently there, if not totally replace it. So that's gonna be a factor as to accessing through our road to get on Mount Elam Road's dead end. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention tonight.
Thank you so much. Jess, are we familiar with this bridge? Is it, if not, we can, my apologies, we can take a look at it. Obviously, we want to make sure we're adhering to DOT and load limits.
Yeah, so I'm Jessica Farrell. I'm the transmission line engineer on the project. So as part of laying out our construction access, we do coordinate with the state, local municipalities to make sure that any of the equipment we're running over the public ways isn't exceeding its weight limit. To the extent that we need to do temporary measures to reinforce or look at alternate access alignments, that's definitely something we do as we go through plotting out our various approaches to the right of way. So we would be very mindful of this particular bridge.
Now, the columns that you're going to be installing, I understand they're going to be anchored well. We all have a change in weather patterns globally now, we know. Wind durability, how is that going to be taken into consideration for that install? Because we're on a mountain. And those towers really have been in there a long time. And there's a lot of debris down after they've changed over the porcelain insulators through the past years. God forbid, some of the young hunters have shot some of them. And how will the cleanup occur after your install? Who's going to supervise and, you know, inspect to make sure that that's not left as a residual mess for us, the residents, the wildlife, and the reservoir?
Teresa, you want to talk about restoration?
Sure. So, and part of the support from the environmental piece, we work with the construction supervisors through the full phase of construction. And certainly for this project, we expect to be out monitoring and ensuring that we are adhering to permit requirements, but also National Grid's, policies to restore the right of way post construction. So there will be a lengthy restoration period where there will be support and oversight from environmental and the rest of the team members.
All right, the next person who had signed up to speak from the public, Jake Lyman. Jake, you want to come up here to the lectern? Make sure you speak clearly. Is that one?
There's a mic right on the stand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
The lights on.
yeah, lights on. You can hear me? I think so. Okay. Jake Lyman, 262 Smith Street, Gardner, Mass. Lyman. Good. Okay. My biggest question, one of my questions is we're going from a 56-foot tower to a 96 to 104-foot tower, if I remember right, from what I read.
Yes, the towers are increasing in height. I
Okay.
think it depends on the tower as far as how
Yeah.
much
Okay.
it increases.
So we take where I am, we got 100-foot wide right away. Obviously, when we bought the house, right away was there. I understand all that stuff. We bought it with a 56-foot tower that you can't see, that if anything ever happened, stays in right away. Now you're gonna go to a 90 to 104-foot tower in 100-foot right away if something happens, which I build stuff all the time and engineering. I don't feel like it's gonna tip over, but I don't know. And now we're in a fall zone on our land and stuff where the right of way goes through. That's a little concerning, I guess. I don't know. Is that something that our insurance companies are going to question now? Is there a rider from National Grid to cover ourselves on those things? I don't know. These are just questions I'm spitballing that I've never heard answers to. We had somebody that came out and we talked to him for a little while and she was great. She didn't have answers. She didn't get back to us, that type of thing.
Yeah, my apologies that you
Yeah.
did not get your answer. As far as your particular location, Jess, I don't know if you want to talk about sort of the engineering of the towers as far as how they are designed to withstand wind and whatnot.
Sure thing. So the new structures are generally, 40 to 45 feet taller than the existing. The rationale for that is we need to be able to construct the rebuilt line while the existing line is still in place. So we need to have clearance from basically the new wires over the existing structures. In terms of the design standards, we have a national code that we are required to comply with. It's the National Electrical Safety Code. There are provisions in there for heavy ice, extreme wind. National Grid internally has more rigorous standards, standard loading condition that mimics a heavy ice case that we design all of our structures to, and we also design our clearance to. So those are kind of, I don't have an answer to you on the insurance piece. I will say that, from a mechanics perspective, the way a transmission line is supported, it's both wire and structure. So the wire also helps to contain the structure within the right of way. So the mechanics of a tower failure is a little bit different than if it didn't have that wire system on it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm in the sign business. We build scoreboards and structures and beams and cages and bolts. And I mean, it's pretty familiar to me. I'm not that concerned on that part, but just didn't know if that was ever a question that came up before. But so then the next question is, in one of the original things we talked about, they were talking, it was going to be a shiny galvanized structure. The pictures you're showing now are like a nickel steel that rusts, so it doesn't stand up as much. I mean, it doesn't stand out as much. What's the decision on that, or has there been?
So the structure finish we're proposing is a weathering steel structure. So it's kind of a core 10 pre-rusted
That's the
steel.
word I was looking for, yeah.
That we've found has, it blends in better with wooded environments. The vast majority of this right of way is a heavily wooded right of way. It's also a structure type that we don't have to go back and maintain in terms of painting it in the future. So it's less trips to the right of way for us. It reduces our O&M costs. So that was another piece of that decision.
Okay, yeah, because it's when I go walk the right of way now and you look at it and you watch the trees and you try to scale it and stuff, you don't see what's there now. You're gonna see what you're putting there from, over, let's say Chapel Street over there. You drive down Chapel Street now, it's a nice neighborhood. It's all behind the houses along everywhere there. Now you're gonna go, how far are they apart? 150, couple hundred feet,
It
something.
varies,
Yeah.
generally 250, 300 foot
Okay.
spans.
Yeah, so down Chapel Street, you'll probably see 7 of these sticking up behind the houses now. So it's gonna change the landscape of the places that we live somewhat. Obviously, it's when we bought and saw it there, it was, oh, it's power lines over there. You don't see it, it's out of sight sort of thing. Now, when we sit in our pool and look over that way, there's gonna be a tower sticking up behind the trees there. So, there's a little bit of detriment to property value, things like that obviously we need electricity and all that. So, I mean, I understand this is probably going to happen no matter what we want, but just something for the board to keep in mind and stuff. And you said that you're making them taller so you can construct them while the other one's still in use, but you're making them taller to carry another 60,000 volts on them at that height, because that's where it needs to be for that.
So just,
I'm sorry.
sorry. So even if we were rebuilding these circuits to 69 kV design
Yeah.
standards and using a similar structure type, you're really looking at about a 5 to 10 foot height differential.
Yeah.
So with the growing demand on the electric system and the infrequency at which we replace these lines, they've been in service since 1908. We're coming through every 120 years. For 5 to 10 feet in the incremental cost delta, it is most efficient for us to replace to allow for a future voltage upgrade, rather than to come through and replace at 69 kV, have demand grow on the system and then have to redo the project.
I understand.
So.
Yeah. So, but anyway, guess that's all I got. So, thanks.
Thank you.
So that is all the individuals that I had pre-signed up. Although I did want to open this up to anybody that is present that has decided that they would like to provide a comment. So is there anyone here that would like to raise their hand that would like to come up and make an additional comment? Sir, just make sure that you say your name, spell your last name, and where you are.
Frank Fowler, Fowler. I live on Mellon Road, in Winchton. I currently have, the power line cut diagonally across my property. And there's 3 towers, right now that are on my property. Since I bought that property 23 years ago, I've basically manicured all underneath the power lines and put it into, basically, field. I have a garden that's all raised bed, really nice. That's I have a garage for my tractor, which butts right of the power line. And as it stands now, there's 2 towers like in the fields, and the middle tower is kind of in a useless little piece of ground. Originally, when they were out surveying and marking everything, I was told they were going to do 1 for 1, replace all the towers. There was no extended span. Now it looks like it may be a few less towers, but where they marked where they wanted to put the new towers, now I'll end up with 3 towers in my field instead of 2. And I've had the surveying and talked about it. That one big lot.
Constraints, happy to come out, meet with you, walk that through on your property, figure out, what we can and can't do. A lot of times when we relocate one structure, we have to jog other ones. There's also the potential for height increases due to that. So we'll talk through the various host of, if we do X, what follows from that.
Yeah.
So that way you have the whole picture, but happy to do that for you.
Yeah. We basically, everything you said, I had that conversation with somebody a year ago, but
Okay.
now I don't know, if anything has happened in that planning. So that's what I'm, kind of hoping that we can have that conversation and get with somebody and see if it's possible, because I didn't know if anything was done as far as that, because it was pretty early in the planning stages.
Nope, happy to have that conversation.
Okay, great. I'll change information with you later.
And likewise, Jake, what's your name? Yep. Likewise, if you'd like to have that conversation as well.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a comment or statement tonight? I want to give one last opportunity. Is there anyone that is appearing remotely on Zoom that would like to raise their hand and indicate they'd like to provide any statement or comment for tonight's public comment hearing? Seeing and hearing no response. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for participating tonight. I would like to remind you that comments and requests for participation are due by Friday, April 26th, 2024. We welcome your input and questions. That information is invaluable in our review for the proposed project. If you have access to email and have questions relating to tonight's hearing or want a clarification on the Siting Board's review of this case or anything else related to this hearing, please email me, Connor, CONNOR, _C, TARR, @mass.gov. I'd like to thank everyone for their participation tonight and for the comments and questions that you've offered regarding National Grid's proposed project. Thank you very much. And at this time, we'll go off the record. Thank you very much for braving the rain and coming out. Thank you so much, everybody.